And howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is Eric. It is Dawn. We are here to talk to you about all things home building and build on your land. But for a little bit longer intro for the folks that are joining us. But join us. Tell us a howdy. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building. I'm Eric Allery with Tilson Homes, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined this week by everything that makes everything happen, the person that makes everything happen here at Tilson Homes, on everything you see on the Tilson front, Mrs. Dawn Dantzler, our Vice President of Customer Experience and Marketing. Hello, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It is going extraordinarily well. Everything's great. We are in the midst of the pollinating here. It's awesome. Everything's turning yellow before it turns green. It's the pine trees and cedars are exploding, and yeah, it's an event. But yeah, it's wonderful. We are here on Tuesday with our Tilson fam. We are excited to talk to all of y'all today about all things build on your land, all things new construction related in the state of Texas, particularly rural Texas. So we do most of our construction, obviously you probably know by now, in unincorporated areas of the state of Texas. So if you are thinking about building a home on your land somewhere in a rural area of Texas, if you're looking to run for the hills away from urban environments and suburbia and you're tired of it, this is the place for you. But Dawn, today we're going to talk about something very specific to that event.
We are, yes.
What are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about one of the things that sets Tilson apart from all the other custom builders who build homes on your land. And we're going to talk about the EasyBuy program. So we're going to talk about how building a home on your land is usually done. And then talk about how Tilson does it a little bit differently, because we always have to be different. So we build our homes in a way that doesn't involve a construction loan. So we'll also talk a little bit about exactly what a construction loan is, because if you've never had one, you don't know.
Yeah, so you can, obviously if you're going to build anything, it costs money. And if you're going to build a home on your land, it's no different. You got to figure out a way to get it paid for. And sometimes that's kind of the biggest gap that has to be bridged for folks is, okay, yeah, I want this lifestyle. I want to do this. I want to live out there, on some rural acreage somewhere. I have a house I have to sell. How do I have equity tied up in that? How do I pay? My builder says I need a construction loan. I'll make payments while it's how does all this go down? So that is what we're going to talk about today. But give us a howdy. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building. I know some folks are jumping in. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. We intend to answer all of your questions today to the degree that we're able.
Yes.
To give accurate answers. And if not, we'll hunt them down for you. That's what we'll do. So, Dawn, anybody joining us yet?
We do. We did have Ashley, who's joining us on YouTube. She's coming in from California. For some reason, it's not showing that I can put it up on the screen, but I did tell her hi over on YouTube. We have Jessie saying happy Tilson Tuesday, one day closer to having her home. Absolutely. Yes, that's awesome. We got Linda coming in from Colorado Springs. We've got Jeannie from Round Rock. Welcome, we got David saying hey on Facebook.
What's up, David? Thanks for joining, man.
Howdy, Yadi and Elliot Velez in Round Rock building Angelina B and Micah. Awesome. We've got Hugh coming in from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Hugh. Welcome.
We've got Jacqueline. Hello from Houston, planning on building in Palestine.
Nice.
Awesome.
There she is, running for the hills. Take me to Anderson County.
Yes. We got Janet. Howdy, patiently waiting on construction to start in Grayson County. Some excavation and pad work has sort of started. Okay, that's good.
Good. We're burning diesel. I like it.
We got Jackie coming in from Spicewood.
Welcome, Jackie.
We got Jeff watching from San Diego. Talk about running for the hills. Come on, come on to Texas.
Come on.
Get out of there. And we got Kristen building in Garden Ridge. And we got Rhonda building a Driftwood in Como County. Thrilled to have a signed contract and locked in way back. Love the financial model of Tilson. Awesome.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm glad we could do that for you, Rhonda, and hope to do it for others. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got Theo and Cree Vaults waiting on construction to start in Robertson County. They're building at Polidoro.
Nice.
We got a race going to see who's is done first. They're going to win. We got Noel. Hello from Victoria. We got somebody asking Eric if we take cryptocurrency.
Well, in the spirit of this is all things financial, let's deal with it. They are from California, always on the cutting edge. Trends like that usually go from left to right, or from coast to center. So we're not there yet. Boot of boots. We are not. I guess that's a Marine Corps reference, judging from the Iwo Jima statue in the background. So hoorah! Thanks for your service. But yeah, at this point, we are not in the crypto craze just yet. It has not made its way all the way to Texas. Apart from some, I think there's two. So I think Tesla to some degree takes them here. Also, I read that the Post Oak Motor Cars, which is the local Rolls-Royce dealership in Houston, they also take Bitcoin. So we're not really at that echelon. Just a second. So no, right, at this time we do not take cryptocurrency, but there will be a time where that will come.
Yep. Never say never. Ashley is asking, off topic, but she's also in Republic Grand Ranch. Do we have to have roads finished before we can start with Tilson?
So actually, most of the road, you have to have the road doesn't have to be paved or anything like that. Because right now there isn't any of them that are paved in Republic, but that's just our game. We're cool with not being on a paved road. That's right up our alley. You see what I did there, Don?
Yeah.
Alleys. Yeah. Okay.
Alley.
So, yep. Everyone at home is laughing at that joke. We just can't hear them because it's comments only. So, but they don't have to be paved. But
so we know you're laughing.
There does have to be, that road does have to be cleared and able to hold up heavy equipment going in front of it. So if you've bought one of the lots in one of the brand new sections that like you can't even drive to yet, first of all, kudos to that salesperson for being able to sell you that. But that's the only way we wouldn't be able to work with it. But as long as it's got like the gravel or the crushed rock road, the culverts on both sides, they've got the utilities in, we can build. It's no problem.
Okay.
It does not have to be paved.
Perfect. All right. We got Amy out in Bell County preparing for vapor barrier and post-tension cables for Angelina C. Awesome.
Very cool.
Cree agrees that her Polidoro will be built before ours in San Marcos. She's
yeah.
got a big head start on us.
There's one under construction in Liberty. It's going to be pretty close.
Oh,
pretty close.
All right. We got Julie. Good afternoon. Hopefully we start building a sweet Whitney farmhouse in July in Bowie.
If you've got that slot date, Julie, it's happening.
Yep. We've got Vidana Rivera's here waiting build start in the shores in Corsicana. Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of those in the shores and Admiral Shores and a bunch of those on our Richland Chambers. Really, really pretty place.
Yeah. Theo's here too. Good afternoon. Hey. Spring is here. Hopefully this weather will hold. Time to work. Cows, all Tilson employees, welcome to help. Pre-con meeting done. Hopefully form set in concrete next month.
All right. Thanks, Theo.
We got Kylie hoping to build the travesty soon in Brazoria County.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We got Neva. Howdy, building the Angelina and Helotes. Just had our house staking with Chuck this morning. Awesome.
Very cool. Hope you had good weather for that. It sounded great.
All right. And then one more question, comment, and then we will start our presentation. We get a question. Does AMCAP need the ACC approval before issuing the approval letter? Also, how does the extra cost of foundation added to the financing after receiving the approval letter? Slab is not designed yet.
Great two-part question they are related. So first of all, no, mortgage company, AMCAP, any of them do not have to have the approval from the Architectural Control Committee to issue the loan approval, issue the commitment letter. So that's that. So don't worry about that. And then the extra cost of foundation, if there is an extra cost, we simply document that on a change order. So that you sign and we sign, and we will send that. And typically we can, obviously reach out and contact Matt or Taylor or some of the people over there at AMCAP and have a phone conversation with them, with you in the loop, of course, and say, hey, it's X amount of dollars. We're wanting to be sure to fit this in the loan. Can you help us out? Typically the appraisal, as long as the appraisal will support it, which these days it generally does, we email them a copy of that change order that documents the change, and they can do a revised commitment letter. It's not the full approval process all over again. They can just, hey, here's the equity position. Yes, it will fit. And I mean, sometimes they truly just scratch through it and initial it and send it back out. So it's not a big deal. It's usually a 1 or 2 day process.
All right, perfect. And I lied. We are going to show one more comment because it's Andrea's birthday. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Andrea. Thanks for spending it with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
We're going to give you a very good birthday present about a PowerPoint presentation on financing.
Yes, we made this just for you.
We did.
So a little note before we start in on this, we do the format a little bit differently on this because there's math, guys. And if you've spent any time with Eric and I, you know that we get distracted very easily. So For this one, we are going to go all the way through the presentation. It's not that long before we answer any questions. So just kind of, you can put your questions into the comments and we will come back to them, but we're not going to break in the middle just because there's a lot of stuff. This is you need to kind of hear it all. And if you stop, we have to start all over again. So
yeah, and Eric is a squirrel chaser from way back. So we try to minimize the number of squirrels that run in front of Eric so that we can get through this. So we're going to talk about, but as Dawn said, do put your questions and comments into the chat. We will get to them, we promise. But here we go with the EasyBuy program. How in the world do we pay for this home while it's under construction? I'll do the first slide, Dawn. So it's not on here. If you're paying cash, none of this applies to you. So,
you may leave now.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. You take a nap, sit there, eat your popcorn, and laugh at the rest of us who have to get loans. So, all right, moving on. Building your home with construction loan. So first of all, we're going to define what a construction loan is, because now Tilson does not do these. So these next couple of slides that I'm going to do is the way that like 99% of homes, custom homes that are built on your land are financed in Texas and really across the U.S. It's really how almost all buildings are constructed, whether it's a church or an office building or a retail strip center or a home. Pretty much in all those cases going to involve a construction loan. So there's nothing illegal about them. There's nothing unethical about them. We're not trashing construction loans here. We just have a little bit better option. So, but we got to find what that is. So a construction loan is, obviously what they're telling you is, look, hey, we don't have the funds or we choose to not tie up our funds to finance the actual build of this home, to buy the materials, to pay the labor, to pay for the shipping, to buy the concrete, to buy the lumber, to buy the windows, to pay the framers, to pay the trim carpenters. So what's going to happen is the buyer, the homeowner, is going to have to go to some type of bank of financial lending institution, bank, mortgage company, somebody, credit union, and they're going to get a construction loan, a loan to finance the construction. They're typically short term. And because they are short term, or ideally they're short term, because of that, they typically yield a little bit higher interest rate. There has to be a little bit more meat on the bone for the bank, okay, because it's not a 10, 15, 20, 30-year residual income for them. It's very short term, so higher rate. It does require a lot more equity typically. You're looking at 20% equity that they're going to require in almost all construction loans situations, particularly right now. And they do also require that you pay off any loan on the land. Now, ours is a little bit different. You can actually still carry a balance on your land while we build, but Dawn will get to that. I'm the bad news of the day. Dawn is going to be the beautiful sunshine, good news a bit later on. So they're traditionally 12 to 18 months. Now, because every builder is experiencing the same long delays and lead times and labor constraints, most of these mortgage companies, they're doing construction loans, have extended that to 18 to 24 months. In fact, I talked to one, a very large regional bank here in the Houston area. If you're over $600,000, they're requiring a 24-month construction loan if you do that way with them. So it's not an option. You cannot do 12-month. I mean, and because they know they're not doing it as a way to get you. It's not going to be done in 12 months. So get that out of your head.
So you might as well write it for 24 months now, so you don't have to worry about doing extensions or any of that.
So, and then what happens is as the builder gets along in phases, like before they'll start, they're going to require, a draw of some sort to pay for the foundation, the slab, the concrete work, the labor, the plumbing, the cables, the form boards, all of that. That lender's going to loan that money out in phases or in stages as work is completed on the home. So what happens? Well, the money's not free. Okay. So you agree up front to the terms, what the rate's going to be. And the rate is accruing interest, and it's either paid out monthly or it's accruing and the balance will be due at the end. I'll talk about a little bit of a taxi cab analogy in a minute, if anyone still knows what that is. So anyway, so the interest is accruing. So it's kind of like a taxi meter running. So some loans, as Dawn has put here in the presentation, require interest-only payments. In fact, I don't know of any right now that a construction loan is going to go towards the principal. All the ones I have researched in the last 4 months are interest-only. So the money that you're paying out every month is interest-only on the money that's being loaned out. Some don't require payments during construction. and but what's happening is that meter is still running. Okay. So the interest is still accruing. Sometimes they'll budget some, budget some interest up front and put that as part of the closing. But in any case, it's just when you hop in a taxi cab and you're driving to a destination, you're not paying the taxi cab for every mile that you're going, but the meter is going the whole time. Even if you're sitting in traffic,
still going.
The meter's still going. And the same as with this. Even if you're sitting waiting on something to happen, if you're waiting on materials, or you're waiting on a framer to show up, or you're waiting on your windows to show up, you're waiting on your garage doors to show up, the interest meter is the day that you take money out on this construction loan, the interest meter starts rolling. There are other costs associated with them, just like there are with any loan. You're going to have an origination fee. You're going to have title research, closing cost that amounts to about 3% of the loan amount. So you're going to close. And even with a one-time close construction loan, which I've also researched heavily in the last couple of months because I want to see what they're doing with their rates, is you're closing on both the construction and the permanent. So you basically have two sets of closing costs paid
just
up
rolled
front.
into one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's what a construction loan is. Now, why would we not do that, Dawn? What is this wizardry that you're saying that Tilson does that everything I just talked about doesn't do, that we don't do?
So we are going to pay the cost of construction using our own money. So instead of asking you to borrow it and have that money given to us, we actually go ahead and use our own funds to finance the construction of your home. So there's no need for you to borrow anything. So all of this construction loan stuff that we just explained doesn't exist with Tilson. It's a pretty big advantage. What that means for you is that most people are able to start their homes earlier and have less overall expense for Tilson. And by earlier, I mean you don't have to save up 20% because we don't require that as much equity as a construction loan would. So you're going to have no construction loan and none of those associated fees that would go with that loan. There's going to be no monthly payments during construction. No down payment if you're a qualified buyer, and lower equity requirements, like I said, and you're just going to have more money in your pocket. So all of this money that you would be spending on interest for your construction loan, you can actually put into your home and get a nicer house. You're also going to have the peace of mind of knowing that we are financially secure enough that we don't need your money. We can finance all of the homes that we have under construction using our money. We don't need yours. So that can kind of just be a concern that you don't have to have when you're dealing with Tilson. So we're going to do some maths. So stick with me, folks, because we would just want to show you what the difference kind of is. So for our example home, we're going to be looking at kind of an average Tilson home. So home price of about $400,000, land value of $75,000. So the total value of the home plus the land is $475,000. And our example family has paid $50,000 on their land. So looking at from the Tilson standpoint, you have a total value of $475,000, the house plus the land put together. And we're going to look for 10% equity. So we want you to have $47,500 in equity in your home. Since they've already paid $500,000 on their land, they have that for us. So we're, check mark, we're good to go. No extra money needed except your $3,000 deposit that is credited back to you at closing.
And just real quick for clarification, they paid $50,000 on the land as opposed to $500,000. So
sorry, 50.
All good. They would be more than, yes, they could also do this with $500,000.
Yeah, they'd be that cash buyer that we were talking about earlier who could just take a map. Sorry about that.
Their 50K covers the $47,500. They don't need a down payment. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry. All right. That was a good interruption. So on the construction loan side, if they chose to go that way, again, we've got the same total value, $475, because same house, same land. They're going to need 20% equity to go into their construction loan. So that's $95,000. So they're going to need to bring, they already have their $50,000. So they're going to need to bring another $45,000 in cash to go ahead and have the equity requirement to meet the construction loan needs. So what that means is they're going to be taking out a total loan amount of $380,000 because what the construction loan is going to do is pay off the balance that's left on the land. So now you're doing all of that. So you've got a $380,000 loan. That 3% is $11,400 in fees and everything that we were talking about, the cost associated with getting the loan. So that $11,400 is just bye-bye, gone forever. So your total cash to start working with a builder in the construction loan example is going to be $56,400 plus whatever the builder wants as their deposit, because you're still going to have a builder deposit no matter who you're working with.
Certainly.
So big difference. All right. So now how do we calculate how much this construction loan is going to cost us? This is what I found from the Construction Loan Center. And as I say, every time we do this, this is the scariest statement I've ever seen about a loan, because it says, during construction, like we were talking about, a construction loan's payments are based on the loan amount actually drawn. It is therefore difficult, if not impossible, to accurately estimate what the payments will actually be, as the loan amount is subject to change at any one time. So like Eric was saying, they're taking the money as they go along, and we don't know how long the money is going to be out, what the amount is at any given time. So at the time I pulled this, they said, a good way to calculate it is to look at 70% of your total loan amount and then just calculate it as simple interest. Multiply those results by 12 to kind of get an estimate. Full disclosure, right now, this is probably low because most of these loans are going to take longer than 12 months, but we'll just work with this because this is what my source says. So what does that mean? So going back to our construction loan, remember we had all of those costs that were happening. So we have put out $56,400 in extra cash plus our builder deposit and all of that. So let's calculate our interest. So we're looking at 70% of the loan amount, which was $380,000. So that's $266,000. We're going to use 6% interest, which is about 1.5 higher than what the current mortgage rate is. So it's fair. Again, probably a little bit low, but wanted to just kind of give you a conservative estimate. So your interest on this is going to be $15,960. And again, that's interest. So either you're paying it during construction and that money's gone forever, or even worse, you're not paying it during construction and it's added to your mortgage, and then it'll just accrue more interest and you'll pay more money.
Then it's financed forever. And
this is
assuming a 12-month.
Assuming 12 months. So this could actually be higher. All right. So total paid, gone forever money, $15,960 in interest, plus the $11,400 in fees for the privilege of having this loan. So that's $27,360 that is just gone forever, plus your cash that is still tied up that you would have had otherwise. So $56,400 plus your builder deposit. So the next slide compares the two. With the EasyBuy program, your total cash out of pocket is your $3,000 deposit. If you were to go the construction loan side, you're going to have $27,360 in interest and fees that you've paid in, plus your $56,400, plus your builder deposit in your equity. So total cash out of pocket in your construction loan is $83,760 plus whatever your builder deposit is.
These are real numbers because
Yes.
I just checked on this last week with a couple of different construction lending outfits. Again, that I know. I mean, this is this is normal. This is what it costs to do construction loans. So anyway,
so you're looking at a difference of about $80,000.
$80,000 difference. Now, again, part of that's going to equity if you are going to 20% instead of 10%, but I mean, the $27,000 plus of that's just fees and interest gone. That's a number that you have to consider.
Yes.
And then the other thing is what's the intangibles, right? What's the right now it's very hard to accelerate anything. It's very hard to get traction on construction jobs out there in the field. At least, I mean, and the biggest complaint, and this is the full transparency, the real talk moment, the biggest complaint you're going to hear or read about with Tilson Homes is it took forever. It took longer than we wanted to. That's the worst. Imagine if there were interest accruing while it's taking forever, what that might feel like. Because that's what's happening.
imagine, the lack of sense of urgency from other builders when they've already been paid most of their money before your home is finished, which isn't really something that we touched on in this presentation, but it is
Yeah.
just something to think about. Like they have 98% of your money somewhere thereabouts before you've closed. Like that final payment that they get at the end is very little money. So there's not really as much of a sense of urgency as someone like us has. We're not getting that $3,000 that we talked about is all the money we're getting until we're done. So you can be absolutely assured when you're working with Tilson that we are just as anxious to get your home completed as you are. And we're working 100% devoted to getting that to happen, where it may not, those final touch-ups with the other builder, they may just like wait you out. It's up, they're potentially there.
Yeah, it's a, and again, we're not saying that there's any builder out there deliberately doing something like that, but the point is right now, I mean, there's nothing they can do to accelerate it. So that interest is going to just keep accruing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
when you're waiting on the appraiser, when you're waiting, for the survey, when you're waiting on the inspector, when you're waiting for that window, like there's money you're paying while that's happening.
Sure. So I know there are questions because some have popped up and updates and so folks, again, keep dropping your questions into the chat, questions, comments. We can potentially, we'll answer interest rate questions. We'll answer questions about your equity position.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that stuff, work that out. So Dawn, do we have anything?
Yes, I'm actually going to start. I do see one direct finance question, so I'm going to ask about, I'm going to put that one up there first. We own our land, no loan. So how is the value of the land determined and how is it applied to the home loan balance, or is it?
Okay, so first of all, it's not applied to the home loan balance. So in other words, it doesn't come off the price of the home cost, what it costs. Whether you build with us or Brand X, the price of the house is the price of the house. So you own the land. That's awesome. No loan. You don't owe any money on it. Fantastic. The value will be determined by a third-party licensed appraiser. So Tilson's going to send a set of plans, what we call options addendum, which are kind of specifications, a map, all that information to your lender. Okay. Mm-hmm. And whoever your lender is going to get with their bank of appraisers. So there's a bank of appraisers. It has nothing to do with a banking bank, just like a cloud, if you will. Like, hey, there's this place, we like a server, we send this information up to, they assign it to an appraiser. That appraiser appraises the home as built. So they take the plans, the specifications, the map of the area, and they pull comps or comparable sales that have occurred. So actual homes that have closed. They don't have to be new construction. They can be resales, mm-hmm. but homes that have closed in the last 6 months in that area. And depending on if it's, urban, suburban, rural, that kind of, that determines on how far out they can go to get those comps. But basically they're going to gather those comps. They're going to appraise that home as if it were built today, what it would sell for based on what other homes in the area have closed at. So that amount is determined by the appraiser. It's not determined by the builder. It's not determined by the lender. It's not determined by the homeowner. It's determined by the appraiser using objective data that is closed in your mm-hmm. area. So the plus side to that is things are appraising for higher than they have ever before because resale prices are higher than they ever have been before. So people are getting, a lot of our customers are getting kind of this boost mm-hmm. that they didn't think they were going to get from an equity standpoint, which is a good thing. As long as the taxing entity doesn't give you the same boost. So anyway, exactly. That's how the value is determined. And then, whether it appraises, it doesn't come off the price of the home. So the price of the home doesn't include any land. So the mm-hmm. value of the land itself would not come off of the price of the home.
Yeah, the reason we were including in the loan examples that we were showing, the reason we were including the value of the land is because once you build your house on it, the two are not separate anymore. So the bank, whenever they're looking at it and they're determining the value of the final property, it's whatever the land is worth plus whatever the house is worth is one number. So that's why it was in there, because that's what you look at for where your equity position is. All right, we've got a question from Jeff. Does Tilson need a topographical survey if we are building on a sloped lot?
Jeff, we do not unless the city or the subdivision requires it. That'd be the only instance where we need to get a topographical survey. But typically, no, we'll be able to shoot those grades with our transit equipment, with our lasers, and determine what the out of level is of the job site, and then relative to going out from the home to make sure we can establish positive drainage. But if, though, on the other hand, if the city or subdivision does require an actual a topographical survey, then yes, we will need one. But otherwise, no, we do not.
Okay. All right, we have a question. Enrique and Lisa from Katie. We want to build a 2-bedroom casita for the in-laws, but can it be done right after our house is built? Any plans for 2-bedroom casita with kitchen?
You don't have to wait until the house is built. I mean, you can build them in conjunction with one another. They can be done at the same time, or you can do it after the fact. Dawn, do we have any plans for a 2-bedroom casita with a kitchen of any kind?
Yeah, actually, I believe we're going to build one of those in Waco. But yeah, we have that available now. If you reach out to one of our consultants, they can actually show you the options right now to make the casita a 2-bedroom with a kitchen in there. I think there's actually a couple different kitchen options out there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's not on the website right now because it's kind of a, well, it's fairly new, number one, but also its cost varies significantly across the state. Because there's some areas right now where there's not a lot of economies of scale to mobilize for a 900 square foot or 1,000 square foot building, whereas other areas it's still no problem, and we can get pretty competitive pricing on it. So anyway, so that's why it's not currently on the website. So you just need to get a hold of your sales consultant. They can walk you through that.
Okay, perfect. All right, and Andrea, whose birthday it is, she's hoping to build a Rockwell B in Dallas. So awesome.
I hope you do too, Andrea.
Yes, absolutely. And we got Will checking in from Klondike.
Howdy, Will.
Taking a little break from the farming. We've got Tracy. Hey guys, I'm building in Henley. Hopefully framing is done this week or next.
Awesome. Yep. Welcome back, Tracy.
Let's see. Will says his chickens are doing good. The turkeys are already in a tractor starting on the pasture grazing, and the meat chickens should be in one for next week. Awesome.
Okay, so let me walk you through a chicken tractor or turkey tractor. Actually, I hope to not walk you through it because it's actually quite nasty. But
okay, do I want to know this?
It doesn't involve the slaughtering of the animals, although clearly he has meat chicken, so that's coming. They've got an expiration date. So it's basically picture like a little fenced-in area, short, typically, that can be fairly easily moved, either with 2 people or maybe you get a piece of equipment, a small tractor, and can move it around. Because the chicken manure, turkey manure, is a very good fertilizer.
Okay.
And so rather than just keeping all of it focused in one area of your farm, if you have the space to do this, over a period of months, you actually move that thing around so that not only do they have, fresh, clean grass to eat from, but also in doing so, they're fertilizing different areas all around the farm. So that's a chicken tractor or a turkey tractor. Cool. I'm sure Will has better pictures of it, but that's the science behind it. Not even theory. That's real. That's real science.
Awesome. So today you don't just get a math lesson. You get to learn about chickens and turkeys.
Chicken tractors. It's not a tractor you put the chicken into. That comes way later.
So it's not like a little turkey driving a tractor.
It's not a little turkey or a little chicken driving a little tractor. No.
All right. Very cool.
I'm a turkey driving a tractor. Totally different look.
All right. We got Susan, who's coming in from the Mojave Desert. Looking forward to building a Travis A in Fort Bend soon. I'm excited for Tilson Tuesday. Likes all the good information. Thank you, Susan.
Thanks, Susan. Appreciate you watching.
Richard is asking if we have a home built in the Bastrop area for sale. So no, Richard, we build exclusively on our customers' own land. So we don't have anything for sale.
Yeah.
Let's see. Eric, our friend from YouTube, wants to do a barter. She's a cosmetologist, going to help with new hair growth. So she does that. Can we give him a free concrete driveway? So.
Boy, I hear that ball jokes are not going over well this week. However, I'll allow it because, man, I'll tell you, if I'd have known it was going to be this easy to shower and get ready in the mornings, I'd have done this years ago. So yeah, not interested in the hair regrowth process, but we can definitely help with the driveway. But yeah, not interested in having hair ever again. I'm good.
All right. Jackie is asking, how are rural utilities addressed with the EasyBuy program, or utility costs the responsibility of the homeowner outside of the program?
Okay, so yeah, the utility costs are not included in the EasyBuy program. That's a great question because when you read it like that, it's easy to think like, oh, this makes it easier to buy. Something we should think about. But yeah, we are able to help you though with utilities. So, and we know right now, depending on where you are in Texas, it is a struggle to get utilities, particularly electricity, to the site. It's not been as big a deal with water yet, but power is a real struggle, and the reasons are the same. Look, guys, they're after the same materials that we're after. They need conduit, they need wire, they need labor. They need hands that can put these things in the ground, that can install these transformers. They need transformers, they need meters, they need meter cans, they need meter boxes, and there's a shortage of everything.
All of the above.
Yeah, so it's taking them longer and longer to do that, but we're still able to get it done. But it's taking, in some areas, 4 to 6 months to get electricity installed, which I would have never dreamed we'd just seen that in a residential situation, and we're not looking to get in like 3-phase power or anything crazy like that, like just regular old, I need to heat and cool and cook in my house. So with that being said, we can help walk you through those processes. There's a lot of it that the homeowner does in fact have to do, particularly on easements. So for instance, if there's no power at the property at all, they're going to want some type of a dedicated utility easement that they're not taking the land from you, but that you're granting them unrestricted access or moderately restricted access to a 15 or 20 or 30 foot wide space, so that they can either install and maintain power lines if they're overhead. So they have to mow it. They have to make sure trees aren't going to fall on it. Or if it's underground, they have to be able to access and repair that if something happens underground. So in either case, and we can't give that access. Only the landowner can give them that access. So there's still a little bit of hand holding involved there. But we can help you with getting the water run, or we can help you contact a well installer. We can help you with kind of the process of getting what you need to get the power installed. We provide the temporary pole if it needs one to work off of, and then we let you know when it's time to get the permanent power hooked up. But I would encourage everybody that's watching this to have a very thorough meeting on site with your power company, not on the phone. I mean, phone's great. Email's terrible. Don't do anything via email or on their website. Try if you can to meet them. And most of these, particularly rural ones, they want to meet you at your property because they want to see what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, and they want to show you exactly where they're going to come in with the power.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is during construction, you actually would be paying that power bill. That is the only expense that we ask the homeowner to pay, because as Eric was mentioning, you're the one that needs to set up all the accounts. So that bill is in your name. It's just easier if you go ahead and pay that. But we're talking about very, very small dollar amounts. Yeah. Usually it's the minimum to have the account. We don't use a lot of power when we're building.
Yeah.
All right. Tammy is asking, what's the minimum you guys start at for builds?
So I think Kelsey just dropped a note in the chat, but yes, we all the pricing is on our website. So you can jump on the website. It's priced by county. So you put in what county you're building in, what plan. Obviously, you go pick the smaller of the plans, and that's probably where it's going to start at the lowest prices. But because it varies by county, you're better off just going to the website and looking it up.
Okay, perfect.
That's how we make things evergreen. Even though we just talk about interest rates.
All right. Jackie's asking if we offer any detached garage options.
Dawn, do we?
Yes, we do. We can design one for you. So whatever size you're looking for, we can absolutely do a detached garage for you. It does have to be built in conjunction with a house. We wouldn't do just a garage, but we can do a detached garage when you're building your home. Ashley's asking if we get an appraisal now with prices high and we start construction, during which the market crashes, and once construction is complete, the final appraisal is low due to the crash, what would happen? Okay,
so first of all, let's stop talking about a market crashing. Let's not talk about that. Nobody wants that. No, Ashley, that's a great question, and certainly one that people are thinking about, whether they're asking it or not. So here's the deal. The final appraisal that's done is really just an update. So they're not technically going out and getting a new value necessarily. I mean, I guess if enough time did go by, but it would have to be a pretty exorbitant amount of time, then they would redo it. But we haven't seen that happening, even with the build times that we're seeing right now. What they're going out there to do is to verify that we built what we said we were going to build.
Right.
So we showed them an Angelina C for the appraisal. That's the plans we sent to the lender, and the appraiser, that's what he or she appraised the value based on. they're going out to verify, okay, is it in fact an Angelina C at this many square feet? Does it have the garage you said it was going to have? Is it finished? Is it habitable? So in other words, the inspector is different from the appraiser. The inspector is inspecting for obviously code and that kind of stuff. The appraiser is inspecting for the lender, really, to secure their investment.
Yep.
Right.
I can get property. Somebody can move in. They can live here. The lights work when I flip the switch. We're good to go.
Commodes flush. Yeah.
Yeah.
These things. So septic has to be in, water, utilities, all that kind of stuff we just talked about for it to pass the final appraisal. The lender's not going to they're not going to pay for the home on your behalf, which is what they're doing in the form of a mortgage, until they are secure in knowing that it is a fully functioning home that could be resold, God forbid, if something happened and they wound up with the house. Because the last thing they want, ironically, is the house on your land. They do not want that. They want 30 years of residual payments. So, great question.
All right. Awesome. All right. We've got Maria hoping to build at the Houston County Lake near Crockett. We visited the Bryan location. Awesome.
Well,
so you saw the
I
canyon.
hope you do, Marla. I hope you get to do that. The place is near and dear to my heart.
Got Yolanda. Hello. So excited. We are building the Preston model in Luling, Texas. We are scheduled for a stakeout next Monday. Awesome.
All right. Congratulations.
Kimberly is asking, if we still owe on our land, do we have to bundle that into the loan?
If you're doing a mortgage, yes, you do. The lender is not going to take what's known as a second loan position, a second lien position, or at least not typically. I mean, I'm not going to say never. There's some instances where I can see that happening, but it is not the mainstream. It's not going to be a Fannie Mae backed type of sellable on the secondary market kind of loan. It's going to be a different type of loan, which costs a different kind of interest to do that, because you're asking the lender to subordinate under a different lender.
Pre-existing claim, yeah.
That's right. So in Texas, the way lien law works, I'm not an attorney, but the way lien law works is it's done by date, not by dollar amount. So whoever has the lien in place first, which would theoretically be whoever has the lien on whoever loaned you the money for the land, they are in first lien position. If for some reason you quit paying, no matter who you quit paying. Now, one crazy lending institution that does that is these guys. For a short term, for the construction, during the construction of the home, if you still owe on your land, Tilson will technically be in second lien position while that's happening. However, before we'll start construction, we're going to verify with your final mortgage lender that you can qualify for the contract amount of the home plus whatever you owe on the property. But I don't know of any lenders that just package deals out of the box that they would allow you to still have a balance on the land loan, and then they would loan you, $300,000 or $500,000 for a new home, and they would take a second lien position behind that land loan. I don't think that's a thing. Great question.
Makes sense. Kristen is asking, CPS Energy went out to our property to set up the temp meter, but we were told we need a meter loop. Does Tilson help with meter loops?
Yes, we can help with the meter loop, Kristen. Get a hold of your either your sales consultant or your land preparation specialist, your stakeout superintendent, and let them know that that's what CPS is telling you. And guys, some of these like I would ask the question, how could Tilson possibly not know that? These guys are changing their rules all the time. Some of them aren't. Some of them it's the same, but some of them it's like, hey, used to we would handle the meter loop. Right now we're not doing meter loops. We're too shorthanded. We need y'all to provide the meter loop. That's perfectly understandable. We just need to know, and then we'll get with our electrician and we'll start working through that. Great question, Kristen. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Jeff is asking, we are scheduled to close on our lot on April 26th. What can we do to speed up the process to get a site walk scheduled? He's trying to coordinate flying in from out of town for the site visit.
Okay. Well, we're probably not going to be able to schedule it for the same day. I don't know exactly where you're building, Jeff, because our workloads are varied across the state with what our land preparation specialists can get to right now. If the site is cleared and you have a survey for it, we could potentially meet you out there. Although keep in mind that it is still currently, until you close, it is someone else's property. So we would have to have permission. You would have to have permission from them to go to the property and to have us visit it with you. That's pretty rare during the due diligence period, or actually outside of the due diligence period, the option period, that they would allow that kind of access. But So we may not be able to visit with you just because it's not your land yet.
Right.
But it's not to say that we couldn't schedule something for when you're in. If you want to do the agreement then after you close, or maybe right when you close, then we could go out there with you. And depending on where you are in the state, we may have the bandwidth to do that prior to you being a customer, but it's pretty rare that we have that. That being said, it is one of the first things that we do. So if you want to schedule your closing and then agreement at our, visit our location and then the stakeout or site evaluation, we can do that. One thing you could do to help speed up the process, because we're still going to be waiting on plans typically anyway while the site evaluation is being done. I would go ahead and reach out to the power company and find out what their protocols are, because that's really one of the biggest hangups right now is power, depending on where you're building. So find out what the power company's schedule is like. So they're in Cedar Creek, a week or two after close. I'd reach out to find out who the power company is, either from the developer or from the listing agent on the property. I don't know if it's a new development or if it's a resale. So find out who the power company is, and I would set something up with them for sure.
Okay, perfect. So Ashley, who was asking, what happens as the value changes under construction, is saying, so we wouldn't have an issue getting our loan closed after construction if the market were to crash, and based on comps, our new house isn't worth as much as initially pre-approved for.
So it doesn't happen that quickly, actually. So that and again, there's not really a way to predict market crashes, but even in the 06, it took almost, first of all, Texas didn't see the crash like this, what's called the sandy states. So your Florida, Arizona, Nevada, those areas that they saw 40 and 50 and 70% increases. Texas did not. Okay. We're more of that 8 to 10% clipping along. It's been a little bit different this time, but let's say the crash happened in 07. The bottom of the market didn't hit till like 2011 or 12. Okay. So you're talking a long protracted period. It's not going to take it's going to take a long time to build your house. It is not going to take 5 years to build your house. Dawn and I will be out there before the 5-year kickoff. We will get it done somehow. One blade of grass at a time. So it's unless you're building in just a crazy hot area, like if you're building in Terrytown and outside of downtown Austin, then maybe you should have a concern if the market were to crash. If you're building in an unincorporated rural area, it's just not something. I can't say exactly what would happen because we haven't seen that, unfortunately. But if the lender decided to say, hey, you know what, we're not comfortable anymore, we want to send an appraiser, get more appraisals, and it came in lower, then one of two things could happen. You could either have to come up with that money separate out of pocket if you still want to do that, or we go shopping for other lenders that maybe aren't going to require that or would use the other appraisal. So there are some options out there.
I think it's also important to note that we don't have the environment that we had in 06, 07 that led to the crash. So you've got to keep in mind what happened back then. And I know everybody kind of remembers that because we were all growing up with it and we're paying attention to it. But we don't have that situation. You don't have risky lending practices. If you think back then, you could actually get a loan and pay nothing because they do 80-20 stuff. So I think I bought a house for $1,000 and that was it.
You can also have no income and buy a house.
Back in the time. Yeah. They were doing crazy stuff. And also builders had inventory. You had all of these spec home builders that had all of these lots and all of these houses. And so the reason the crash happened is they were looking to get rid of it because they had inventory. You have neither of those things right now. So I don't think that we'll see a crash. Obviously, I can't guarantee that. I think the most we'll see is a leveling out, which honestly has to kind of happen at some point. But you'll just kind of see that everything will stop doing kind of these crazy increases that you're seeing right now. I don't think you're going to lose value if that makes sense.
And if it does happen, something like that, Ashley, it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to be a thing that takes at least months, if not years, to truly correct or level, like Don's saying. Because like you said, the biggest difference right now is there was inventory then, there is no inventory now.
Yeah, there's zero, there's negative inventory.
And the reason for that is because builders and developers were so afraid, like the ones that survived 06, 07, 08, were like, well, we're never going to do that again.
Right.
So what did we not do? As in human history, the pendulum swings the other way. we basically we made sure as an industry that we were behind that demand curve for over a decade. Like we didn't build inventory really as an industry for the entire 2000 teens. Just didn't. Like because of what had happened, we're going to, from 2011 to 2018-ish, we're not building. Well, what was happening then? Well, this generation called the millennials, which by the way is the largest generation in the country, they were growing up. And they're not kids anymore living in their parents' basement, okay? They're buyers, and they want to buy homes. Well, guess what? There aren't any of, because we didn't build any while they were growing up.
Homes. Yeah.
They're not houses. So that's what you're feeling. It's part of what you're feeling right now with this big strain on supply versus demand. The demand is higher than it's ever been because we have the largest generation in U.S. history ready to buy homes. Unfortunately, the timing is terrible because they're following up a decade of where builders were scared to death to build homes. So that's this big out of whack balance which we got going on right now.
Okay. Hopefully that reassured you a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. We got Talon Yolanda, that he's really excited for the site visit next week. So
thanks for hopping in, Talon.
That'll be fun. Brandy is asking, can you build houses on concrete columns as in around water?
We do not, Brandy. No, we only do slab on grade at this time.
Okay. And we've got Velez saying your EasyBuy program is a bright spot with the long construction timelines. Yes, we're very privileged to be able to offer that to our customers.
Certainly for the buyer, it is.
Yeah. So we've got a celebration. Our foundation is down, and the guys did a great job. That's awesome.
Good.
We got Jabo. Sorry, I got into the Tilson Live late today. Who has the final say authorizing or going ahead with closing, even if minor things are delayed? Let's say house not 100% complete, but is already habitable.
Well, Jabo, that's so. I guess absolute final say would be the lender. Typically, now, I mean, hopefully we are and you are on the same page, customer and builder. There are obviously going to be some things right now that are going to be like, and what we're seeing mostly on folks at this current moment in time are like fit and finish thing, like cabinet parts or pieces. Like, hey, I'm supposed to have a wine rack thing here. It showed up. It was damaged. We need a new one. Okay, well, that's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. We're going to get it, but it's going to take time. Are you willing to go ahead and lock in your interest rate and close on your loan and get in the home under the promise? And we'll sign an affidavit that we're going to show up with that thing as soon as it comes in.
Right.
Freestanding tubs. We've seen some, not built-in tubs, but freestanding ones. I've known people that have closed on their permanent loan with that not there in the master yet. Windows is a tough one. Now, maybe a broken window. Hey, the window's broken. We acknowledge it's broken. It's broken. We're going to, as soon as one is available and comes in, we're going to come and install it. Are you comfortable go ahead in the closing? Like, those are things that you need to have a conversation with your building superintendent on. I would tell you that if your building superintendent, if Tilson, if our builder, our regional construction manager, our VP of construction is comfortable closing on it, you can take it to the bank. We're going to get it finished. I don't know about how long, but it will get done. If we're not comfortable, you do not want to do it. Like if you come to us and say, hey, I think I'm pretty cool with this, and we're like, not cool. We have to send way too many people in to rebuild whatever this is, install the fireplace or something crazy like that. Like, we're probably not going to close with the fireplace not being in there. Because it involves too much invasive, destructive activity to do it after the fact.
We're not going to close with no flooring.
Right.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I like concrete. It's nice.
Yeah, but I also like my trim installed and,
Yep. Great question, though, Jabo.
Yeah, good question. All right. We've got May asking, are you able to build a balcony off of the game room for 2-story homes such as the Cedar Creek or Granbury?
We've certainly done it before, May. It needs to be over. It has to be what we call a rain-through deck. It has to be over a covered porch of some sort. We aren't going to do it over living area. So hopefully that'll kind of help you with placement-wise. If the porch is extending off the back of the first floor of the home, then we could theoretically do a balcony sticking off the back as long as it's overhanging only that porch.
Okay.
So that when it leaks, which it will, it goes down onto the concrete.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. We've got Carol. Hi from Stephenville. What are the upfront things we need to take care of before building starts in rural area of Erath County?
Well, first of all, we hope that you were unaffected by the fires. So you need to. So a couple of things that you can do up front. Utilities is one that I think I've tried. I hope the horse is not dead yet, but if it's not dead yet,
call them now.
Yeah. Call utility
Call them
company
yesterday.
now, because they're going to be super busy in those areas, because they're going to be rebuilding a bunch of power lines that just burned down all over Northwest Central Texas. Now that said, there's some things like access. So any type of construction drive, typically it's not a major issue in the Stephenville area. It's pretty good rock out there, but got to have some access to get onto the property. We're going to help walk you through some of the things like, where's the septic going to go? How do you have water? Are you going to be is it a water entity? Is it kind of a community water? Is it a water well that needs to be installed? Find out if there's lead times on water wells in your areas. Those would be the biggest thing. Start investigating your utility lead times. And if any clearing has to be done, go ahead and get on the books for that to get that taken care of.
All right. Perfect.
And then sit down with the design consultant and
design your home.
And design your home. I mean, that's the thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That is the last question I see.
Well, we made it through that pretty good. So yeah, folks, if you have questions anymore, this is going to be last call for questions, comments, but put them into the chat. We know that this is a gap that must be bridged. We understand that, we love talking about the design and customization and dreams and all that fun stuff, because that's what this is all about. But we also understand that until we can help kind of show you how that happens financially, it's not going to happen. So this is the most important step of the process. We want to treat that respectfully for you guys. So if you have questions that you weren't comfortable asking on here, totally understandable, totally respectful of that, reach out to us individually. We have a fabulous website that's got a lot of information about this exact situation. We have a YouTube channel that's got a lot of information about this, and every single one of our sales consultants, this is what they do every day. They could host this show as well as either of us could host it, because they answer these same questions all day, every day. So, and
they're doing them in person again. So if you want to go sit down with them and talk,
that's right. You can sit down and talk with them and do those. So, feel free to reach out. We got a Facebook page. We got an Instagram page. Of course, we already mentioned YouTube, the website, 12 locations open 7 days a week. We are very, very, very easy to get a hold of. Good. I'm glad, Carol. I'm glad you're safe from the fire.
Carol's safe.
Crazy. And yeah, we'd love to have you guys reach out to us. We'd love to answer any of your questions, help you further down this process. And we really genuinely soon to hope make you part of the Tilson family.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
We'll talk to y'all later. Thanks and gig 'em.